Welcome back. You still watching the Nile cruise, and now Egypt's villages are stepping into the global spotlight as the models of this sustainable tourism and culture preservation. And to shed more light on this topic, we are honored to have Dr. Yiumna Salama, the tourist guide and the tourism expert. Welcome, Dr. Yiumna.
Hi, how are you?
It's an honor having you on Nile TV International.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Let me start our questions by how do you how do the recognitions like the UNWTO Best Rural Tourism Villages align with Egypt's goals for the rural tourism here in Egypt?
Well, first of all, it's actually quite a credit and an honor to receive this recognition. And it's very important to shed light on the fact that Egypt is trying to do all the efforts and undertake all the actions in order to promote tourism, as tourism is one of the most important sources for our economy. And still Egypt is not gaining its ranking in tourism because there are still many challenges. But now gaining this recognition and receiving this recognition will enhance the tourism sector and encourage more tourists to come into Egypt and try a different type of tourism.
What role do such awards play in strengthening Egypt's image in regarding the rural tourism here in Egypt?
It's important to shed light on Egypt all the time and strengthen the image of Egypt and Egypt's location among the map of tourism of the world. So such recognitions, such awards will spot the light on Egypt and will keep all the media worldwide looking all the time at Egypt and following updates regarding tourism in Egypt. So this is very important for us because Egypt has also competitors in the region. Gaining such awards will help us to keep our status and keep our location as a tourism destination in the region and in the entire world.
Okay, do you think Egypt's image as a leader in sustainable tourism can bring it to the global level to be compared with other countries?
Well, again, we have all the types of tourism. We have the historical tourism, we have the culture, we have beaches, we have safari, we have religious, we have even different types of tourism, like I cannot mention even all of them. And we have water sports tourism, exhibitions, conferences. But the challenges we have in the tourism sector is actually to deal with some routine challenges to facilitate all the obstacles that can a tourist face. This is very important, and above all to work on the people working in the tourism business. I'm not talking about the category of tour guides or the category of tourism agencies. I'm talking about people working one-to-one or in person, like the people working in touristic areas, the vendors, in restaurants. All this we need to develop and work on the developing of people working in the tourism sector still.
From your perspective, how has Egypt approached to rural tourism till now?
Well, if we look at the remote and rural areas, we're talking about farming and villages, communities, we're talking about Nubian islands, we're talking about also Red Sea areas, the oases. Egypt is trying hard to enhance the tourism in these remote and rural areas. However, there are still some areas that we need to build the infrastructure there, work again on the human capital development.
Yes.
I will shed light on that point again,
Yes,
Sahar,
sure.
because this is very important. I
Yes,
have
sure.
like hands-on in the business, and I see that those people, they need training courses, they need workshops to know how to deal with the tourists. Maybe they have the basics and they have the beautiful destination that tourists would like, but still they are not very much aware of how they will deal with the tourists and how they can attract the tourists to come again and again and again. Egypt is helping them by giving them facilities, by even the Ministry of Tourism is working with the travel agencies to put such rural areas on the map of the touristic programs. So we do visits to Nubian villages, we
Yeah.
take guests to the oasis and
Yeah.
so on. That's one side that we're working with, but still we need more to enhance the infrastructure, develop it, and also work on the people. And also the routine. We need to minimize the routine that a tourist will face coming into Egypt.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
What are the steps are being taken to ensure that these local communities play a very vital role
First of all,
in the rural tourism in general?
yeah, that's important. First of all, raising awareness. So they help them by doing raising awareness campaigns, and also helping them by trying to give them, like, stands to sell their handmade crafts, to sell their handmade stuff, their things that they make, and trying to give them permits to build, for example, what we call guest houses, so the guest can stay in what we call a local experience,
Yeah.
people to people experience. So this is some of the examples that we are doing, so the people in rural areas, they can invite and receive tourists in a very organized way, and also in a way
And
that
hostile way
and
and-
hostile way, and aligns with the
Yeah.
policy of the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities as well.
Sure. Okay. What do you see as the biggest challenges for promoting the rural tourism in Egypt, and how can this innovate and help the address this?
Number one, the infrastructure.
Yes.
We need to enhance and develop. I would say I highly appreciate all the efforts
Yes, that has
done
been
by the
taken.
political leadership.
Sure.
And Egypt today is working in a very obvious way, developing the infrastructure. And even here in Cairo, we all can sense that. But still, the infrastructure reaching the rural areas need to be developed as well. Building airports, small airports in such areas will help the tourism. Working also on the developing of the people, again and again, human capital development. Those people in the villages, in the countryside, in the Nubian islands, in the oasis, they need to have an organized agenda
And-
for human capital development. We have many volunteers. I would speak on behalf of myself and my colleagues, the Egyptian tour guides. We did such campaigns, so we need to talk to them, tell them how to deal with the tourists, what are the key points to attract the tourist in such a type of tourism. And the other important thing, we need also to work a little bit on minimizing the routine. The tourist faces a lot of routines from the minute they arrive at the airport till the minute they leave. We have, this is something typical, we have routine, we have procedures, we need to minimize all that, especially when it comes to permits going into rural areas.
Yes.
Because there are
Sure.
permissions and permits for the tourists.
Yes,
So
yes.
this is, from my opinion, something we need to work on, and it's a challenge as well.
Okay, and now to a very critical question. Are there other villages or the regions in Egypt you believe that have the potential to gain the recognition and contribute to the rural tourism sector?
Sahar, this is a very good question. Yes, there are plenty.
Okay.
And
We can shed more light on
we
these.
can shed more
yes.
on some of those, the oasis.
Okay.
The oasis, and not just Siwa, but I'm talking about Bahariya, Kharga, Dakhla, Farafra, all the oasis we have in Egypt, 7 oasis. All of them are potential destinations for rural tourism, and it's very important to work on all the oasis together and connect them.
Yes,
So not
sure.
just one oasis becomes famous, we need to work on all the others as well, not to be
Yes.
left and neglected. And also the Bedouin communities. As
Yes.
we spoke earlier about the
Yes,
Nubian
very
and
important.
the Nubian islands in Aswan, the Bedouins in the eastern deserts and in Sinai, this is also a very important community living in Egypt, and they have beautiful nature,
Sites and
beautiful sites, beautiful traditions. So these are potentials that I hope one day there will be a special awards as well and they receive such awards for
Okay.
rural tourism.
In your point of view, how do the government can enhance the infrastructure of such rural areas or the regions that are going to be potential in the future? What are the steps that yeah, they have to be taken or something to let them light and shine?
New roads, faster roads. The roads had to be prepared with facilities and services,
Yes.
so the guests, they can stop. We are talking about going into the deserts of Egypt, and this is long distance by bus, so they need to have stop points and facilities and service. Also, we have airports, but we need to work on those airports and make the charter flights reachable, so they can reach, like charter flights. This is also not all on the shoulders of the government, but also the touristic and the aviation sector. They need to work on that, so charter plane can go directly to those destinations, and that will help a lot, because we are talking also about repeaters, tourists who
Yes.
came before. So maybe if they are done with Cairo and they've seen Luxor and Aswan
Yes.
and the highlight,
The most
then-
famous things.
yeah, then they need a
They have
charter
to
flight to take them directly to Sinai,
Yes.
or directly, like we have today,
To Nile.
directly to the Red Sea,
Yes.
directly to the oasis, and so on.
Mhm.
So this is something that we can still work on, and we do have private jets who can go to those,
Yes.
but we need to enhance the programs and make special programs just for those destinations.
Some questions are related to what we were talking about. How does this rural tourism enhance Egypt's culture heritage?
This is also a nice question. You're hitting with a nice question.
Thank you.
So the culture and the heritage, because when you go into a country, you definitely want to experience its culture and heritage. And
Past, in the past.
yes,
Yes.
not just in the past, but even today. Like, you want to know about the Egyptians today. Those rural areas, they are still practicing some of the traditions, and they have their own culture. When we talk about the Nubian culture, the Nubians, they speak a different language. They speak Arabic, but they also have the Nubian language. So enhancing the tourism will help them to preserve their culture, because their culture and their distinguished culture is an attractive point for the tourist. He's coming to experience something different. When we talk about the Bedouins, I mean, if I stay with the Bedouins, if they talk too fast, I don't understand
I
what
don't
they're
understand
saying.
their language. Yes.
Yes, so this is something attractive. The handicrafts. Not mentioning even the food.
Yes,
The
sure.
Nubians, they have certain
It-
type of
it
food,
has another culture.
and
yes.
the Bedouins as well. So giving them the opportunity to be involved in tourism and to enhance this type of tourism will help them keep preserving their culture and their language and their handcrafts, and not moving into modern cities, because sometimes you see the what we call the movement of modernizing rural areas is very fast. They want to be modern. They start building high buildings. When we tell them that this is what tourists like and this is what will bring the money and will bring income, they will keep their traditional style in a very beautiful and developed way. And this is what I think it's very, very important. Yeah.
Okay, let me take something from the other question and say, does this can serve as a model for balancing the tourism here in Egypt and giving it a high-ranking one?
Yes, indeed. As I said, we have different types of tourism. Egypt is blessed with all those factors that helps different types of tourism. How to balance that? Because we need to attract all types of tourists. So we need to enhance all those. We do not, of course, for centuries, Egypt was focusing on the culture, historical tourism,
Yes,
because
sure.
this is the highlight. Everybody wants to come to Egypt because of the history of ancient Egyptian civilization, the time of the great pharaohs and all that. And that's a highlight. It will remain forever. But with all the challenges we have in the region, we need to balance, as you said,
Yes.
with all other types of tourism. And we need to balance them because guests are not the same. They are not alike. We have different types of people. So shedding light on that type of tourism, and I'm not just talking about international tourism, Sahar, I'm talking also about domestic tourism. The Egyptians, me and you, and all Egyptians, when they go to those rural tourism, they are experiencing something different. So
Yeah,
it's also
sure.
important for our domestic
For our
tourism.
domestic tourism, yes.
Yes.
Okay, and does the government take any steps regarding enhancing the domestic tourism here in Egypt, yeah, yeah, to let people and to let the
Yeah.
citizens explore all the touristic sites here in Egypt?
Of course, first of all, the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, in many holidays and national days, they give permits for Egyptians to visit museums, to
The
visit
Grand Egyptian
destinations,
Museum and other
and
things, yes.
others. They also, the touristic travel agencies, they make programs especially for Egyptians,
Yes.
the clubs, the youth centers, even the Ministry of Youth and Sports, they enhance the young people and they make vacations like the mid-year term vacations, university students and all other youth in Egypt. So this is how the government is encouraging the domestic tourism, as well as trying, I would say trying, it's very important from the travel agencies, trying to minimize the cost,
Yes.
for the Egyptians.
Especially for the youth.
Yes,
As you
especially-
mentioned now, it's a very critical segment in the society, that the youth, we have to encourage them and we have to let them and to facilitate for them yeah, for everything for
Definitely.
the domestic
and,
tourism.
And the youth in Egypt and the youth abroad.
Sure.
They need the special packages.
Special prices and special packages.
prices,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, the last questions, the challenges that Egypt is facing now regarding the tourism. There is a difference between Egypt before in the tourism sector. What do you see from from your point of view? How do they can face these challenges? Egypt's ranking or Egypt's level?
For Egypt, I would always say, and this is again from my personal opinion, for Egypt to gain,
as a tourist guide,
Yes,
and as
of
a
course,
tourist expert,
yes.
for sure.
For Egypt to gain its prestigious
Yes.
status,
Again,
that Egypt deserves.
sure.
Because we're not yet achieving the numbers
Sure.
we are looking forward to, and the numbers that we should achieve.
We should achieve.
So for order Egypt to achieve that, all the sectors, the governmentals and the NGOs need to cooperate together. We cannot work as separate ones. We need all of us to work, cooperate in order to achieve one goal: the satisfaction of a tourist coming into Egypt, regardless the category of this tourist, and regarding the age, and regarding the type of tourism he's doing. We cannot say we want only the high-end tourists. No, this is not right.
No,
we want all types
serve
of
all. We can serve all
and
types
they need
of
to
tourism.
work together. The Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, the Ministry of Youth, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the security departments, and the NGOs as well. Because building that, it's a country goal, and all of us need to work towards that. That's number one. Again, minimizing the routine that a tourist would face, very important. Giving the permits, the allowance, and also working on the development of the people, the human capital development for people. Look at the Nile, the felucca guy, the boatman.
Sure.
He deals with tourists on daily basis, but maybe he doesn't know the know-how.
The importance of
And
this
he
tourist
doesn't know
and
how.
of his work regarding this tourist.
And every Egyptian need to know. I mentioned that many times. We need to have a subject in the Egyptian curriculum for schools called raising awareness about tourism.
Yes, this
Not
is a very
history.
yes,
Not
this is a
history,
very
it's
important
tourism.
point. Yes.
Every industry is linked to tourism.
Okay.
The media, the program we are doing today,
Sure.
the bottle of water the factory produces, it will be served to a tourist at the end.
Sure.
So everybody needs to understand how important tourism is. The taxi driver, he needs to know how to deal with the tourist.
Yes.
And this is important.
And this is the role for who? To let every citizen know his role regarding tourism in Egypt.
Exactly. Exactly.
Dr. Yiumna Salama, thank you so much for being with us on Nile Cruise. A short break and we'll be right back on Nile Cruise, dear viewers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sahar, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Dr.
Thank you.